On a day when Craig Brathwaite failed for the third time in the tournament, his accumulative total have not had up to his age. Also, Zachary McCaskey failed for the second time in the match. Chanda Paul Meta Ducks, Mackenzie Blackwood all fail. However, Giles Gooley from Trinidad, he played 113 against the West Indies Academy. But the man who stood out like a beacon was the 38-year-old veteran Jamaican who hit 16 fours and 5-6 in helping Jamaica to 259 for 5 at the close of play on day 2. Chadwick Walton glittered as he made 163 not out on the second day of the second round of the West Indies Regional 4-day cricket competition. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second day roundup of the second round of the West Indies Regional 4-day cricket tournament. Joining me this evening will be Basil Butcher, and along with Andre Billy, and later to join us later in the show will be Bobby Brown. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
Good evening to your viewers, and thank you for having me.
Good evening, Sir Carlton, and good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to your viewers around the world. It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. Let's start with Basil. Basil, tell us what happened today in the Guyana Leeward Island Volcanoes match. Disappointing batting display from your home team.
Yes, the close of play, Leewards were 299 for 6 yesterday, and they went on to make 352. And then a disappointing display of batting by Guyana, being bundled out for 188, with Ali Mohammed top scoring at 41. He earlier in the day took his maiden 5-wicket haul in his maiden first class match, taking 5 for 69. And he top scored with 4-1, with Sinclair chipping in with 29. And then at the close of play, Leeward Islands are 52 for 1, with again Mr. Mikhail Louis, the century maker in the first inning, is on 37 not out. So that is the close of play score. Another listless day by Guyana. Another thing I would want to comment on in terms of Guyana, which is disappointing for me, is that Guyana seems to be going back to this old nonsense they've been doing forever. Bowling the spinners forever and fast bowlers not bowling as much. Like today, after 8 overs, the spinners came on with a brand new ball. So that is not encouraging at all from a Guyanese perspective as a fan. And for a West Indian looking to see fast bowling flourish, that's not a good sign.
Basil, let's look at Tej Narayan Chanderpaul. He has been struggling since he made that 200 against Zimbabwe. He have not passed 36 since then. I think he have now gone 15 innings without passing 36. What is really happening with Chanderpaul?
From what I'm seeing, there seems to be some technical deficiency outside the off stump. The other thing, he is not side on when he's playing the ball. He's too front on it from my perspective. And again, today, he got out the same way he was getting out in Australia. Got nicked off. The ball was close to the fourth stump line, and he got nicked off.
Yes. To see Michael Louis made 113 because he was on the field, and Louis comes back again now and is on 37 not out. He had scored over 200 runs for the tournament thus far. He's in a rich vein of form. How is that affecting Chanderpaul to see another opener in his very present challenging for his position?
Well, as an athlete, you're a competitor. If anything, that should get your juices going, because Chanderpaul has to know that he is in poor form, and they're players that's gunning for his position. And this performance in the first inning is another indication that he needs to buck up. I mean, look, you got Salazano playing for the Windwards, made it 80 something. Today you got the Louis guy making 100 and so on. Well, obviously not Chadwick Walton. I must Sarkar and Chadwick Walton ended just before close of play for a magnificent 163. So the score is 259 for 6 Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, he died. I mean, it was a brilliant catch at silly mid off to dismiss him. But Chandapal is a guy that his perspective has to be, I have to score heavily because I'm on thin ice. Now, the other guy who's supposed to be challenging him is Zachary McCaskey, and he hasn't gotten a score in the 3 innings he's batted neither. So Chandapal from one maybe feeling a little good from that perspective that none of his competitors have hit the road running.
But isn't Louis putting forward himself as a challenger for that position?
I don't think you would pick Louis off of his maiden season, because this is Louis. This is the first time Louis in his career making runs, and I don't think selectors gonna pick a guy for the first time he come and making runs. Maybe I may be wrong because Louis could go on and make 600-700 runs that force them to gotta pick him, right? So, yes, Paul has to look at Louis and be.
But looking at it, but looking at it, Basil, Chanda Paul had played regional 4-day cricket for a number of years.
Yes.
You will probably remember when he started out.
Mm-hmm.
But up to 2022, he was averaging 22. That means he was not doing anything.
Correct.
So he had a brilliant 2022, got picked. So it's really one season that Chanda Paul made runs in.
Yes.
So that 12-month period is a sort of a glory period for Chanda Paul. Nothing before then, and I've done nothing after. So if, as you said, if Louis come forward and make 600 runs, he will definitely get in.
I agree with that. And that's also a reflection of the weakness in our opening batter situation in the West Indies team. That and Chanda Paul, as far as I'm concerned, got into the team because of your countryman's judicious behavior by not taking his drug test. Because hadn't Mr. Campbell done such a folly, he would have been the opening batsman. Chanda Paul would have never got into the team from my perspective because I never rated Chanda Paul, to tell you the truth.
Okay. Andre, Billy, what are your views on the Guyana match? Were you able to watch that match and realize that some of the top Guyanese batsmen who persons are looking forward to, Imlach, Anderson, Savory, Chanda Paul, they all failed today, and there's a lot of talk about these batsmen. What are your views?
You're on mute. You're on mute.
So, Andre, you're hearing us now. Unmute your mic, Andre. Go ahead.
Right. So, no, I did not watch that much today because I was more focused on my assignment. But what I will say is that looking at the Australia tour and looking at the tour of South Africa before that, I am of the opinion that Chanda Paul should be, I'm not going to use the term dropped from the team, but I'm going to use the term left out. And what is the difference between left out and drop? To be left out is seen that you have some technical flaws, some technical issues that needs urgent attention. So in my humble opinion, what I would do is that I would leave him out of the tour of England and get somebody to work on his batting technique. That crouching stance that he has when fast bowlers are bowling to him, and also him nipping off outside off stump. I think those are two technical flaws that he needs to work on. He needs to stand upright and he needs to face the bowler down the pitch, in my opinion. So I would not take him to England. I would use this tournament that is going on currently and also some future exercises to try and work on his batting technique to try and iron him out somewhat. But as I said, he's not dropped. He's just left out to work on some technical flaws and then reintroduce him sometime into the future, maybe later on in the year. That would have been my approach with him.
Thank you, Billy. Basil, how do you react to that? And the other question: do you think Guyana can get back into this match, Basil? So, what's your reaction to what Billy said about leaving
I mean,
Chandapal out of the team?
those are fair points, but that will be based on what other guys do in this tournament, right? So if you got a couple other openers that show some metal, Chandapal will have to be left out, right? So those are fair points. And from a Guyana perspective, the best I see Guyana could do in this match is draw the match, because I see Leeward Islands gonna bat into the last session. That's what they would prefer to do. If they can do it, get into the last session and declare, and then have a go of Guyana in the last hour of this play and come back on the fourth day to bowl them out.
So you don't see Guyana coming back in this match?
No, I don't see them coming back in this match, because one of the reasons I don't see them coming back in this match, I don't think Guyana's bowling attack has any kind of teeth. And for them to come back into this match, they will have to bundle out the Leeward Islands for a very low score. And that bowling attack does not give me no confidence that they have the capability of doing so on what is a flat track.
Okay, so just to summarize that, Leeward Islands Hurricane won the toss yesterday, decided to bat, and made 352 all out. Mile Louis made 113, Jamal Hamilton 77, Cornwall 54. Hali Mohammed took 5 for 69 from 19.5 overs. When Guyana batted, Daniel Durham took 4 for 40 and Jeremiah Lewis 3 for 42 to bowl them out for 188. Leeward Island Hurricane in their second innings are 52 for 1. Hello, Merrick. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Thank you for that. I wasn't aware of it. I thought that was the close of the day's play, but as you would aware, I'd have to set up. So thank you, Basil Addon said that to us. Love what I've seen from the 17-year-old. We'll come to that. I don't know how many of you have seen him. Barbados pride is done. Brian H is saying that last week kill off the match. Andres coming to review the Barbados Windward Island Volcanoes. What can you tell us from that match? What happened today, Andre Billy?
Well, another disappointing day for Barbados, but a very, very excellent day for the Volcanoes. In my preview of the squad for the Volcanoes, I said that the team looked rather young and inexperienced. But boy, have they surprised me, and I'm very, very happy for them. I'm also on record as saying that Barbados, I think they are the ones who are going to win this competition, but I'm very disappointed with their performance so far. And I'm going to start off with the captain. Now, here it is that the captain was bowled. I'm going to admit that it was a good delivery that got him, but for a person who has played, I think, over some 70 test matches now, captain of the West Indies team playing at the international level, I think he should be able to negotiate deliveries like those. And I must say that I'm a bit worried about his form going forward. I guess I can consider 18 to be an improvement on his previous scores, but let's be factual here. 18 is no score to work with. But he did look better. I must say that he was getting behind the ball. He was rotating the strike and running, and he was trying a little bit more. So a little bit more positive, but not good enough at this point. I'm hoping he will improve as the season goes on. Now, Zachary McCaskey, he was out for 9. Shane Mosley, LBW for 16, and Jonathan Drakes also got dismissed for 20. It was a disputed outside edge. Personally, looking on the screen, it didn't look like it nicked off to me, but the umpire's decision stand at the end of the day, so we have to follow it. So Barbados closed the day 72 for 4, and they are trailing currently by 39 runs. They're in serious problems. For them to get out of this situation tomorrow, I mean, I think Shane Dowich would have to really settle down as a senior batsman along with Shane Holder, Shamar Holder, Premius, and all of them has to contribute in trying to get at least a 150 to 200 run lead and trying to put the Volcanoes under some pressure. But so far, the Volcanoes have been doing very, very well. Very impressed with their approach so far. They are playing aggressive cricket. They are in the face of the Barbadians. They are attacking them. They are putting bat pads there. I mean, very, very good. And this cricket pitch is very good also. Facilitate good cricket. Something there for the bowlers, something there for the batters. So it's up to you to utilize your skill and perform.
Thank you very much, Andre. Basil, what's your take on that match?
The first thing I want to say is commend the pitch. I would like to see more pitches like this in our first class cricket. something for the bowlers. The batters, if they apply themselves, they can score runs. The ball is coming on to the bat. You're getting value for your runs, yes, because of the pitch. Barbados, the ball at bowl Craig Brathwaite is the identical ball that he was bowled down by with Cummins. When Cummins bowled him the ball that left him, he played down the wrong line. The ball moved and hit the top of off. That's the same exact ball he got there. Barbados has been really disappointed because they're heralded as supposed to be one of the top team in the tournament. There's a lot of hype around them. I've heard some Barbadian fans complain though about the team selection, saying you have two fast bowlers sitting on their bench in Simmons and McAllister, and you have a medium pacer bowling for a change. So that's an area right there. McCaskey so far has been disappointing. I was looking for McCaskey to push Chandapal out of the West Indies team. He was the third opener that went to Australia. So I was hoping to see McCaskey make some serious runs, but there's still a lot of time left. They still got 5 more matches. But he has been a disappointment so far. Craig Brathwaite, he is struggling. He's going and he is a player. When he struggles, he looks real bad because he doesn't look good when he's going good, period. So when he's bad, he looks really bad. He looks like the end of the world. But the one thing about him, he is a tough nut. He's a very mentally tough guy. He's been through this before. So, I have confidence Brathwaite going to come good as this tournament goes on.
Thank you very much, Basil. Last week at Shedrin Park, while Brathwaite was batting at the start of the innings, I said to Edmund, bowl a inducker to him and then you straighten the one up outside the arse stump. Well, he didn't need to straighten the one up outside the arse stump because the inducker got him caught at short mid-wicket and Brathwaite win. I said it very loud. Everyone heard when I said it. Now, in yesterday innings, he got an outswinger immediately following the inducker and he nicked off. Today again, he got another inducker and he was out. I don't think Brathwaite likes me very much at this time. Gentlemen, now, this is a cause for concern for me. When you look at Solanzo 86, Ambrose 72, Melius 53, all got start. Coming to you, Andre Billy, and none of them pushed on to 100. Let's hear your view, and then we go to Basil to hear his thought.
Yes, especially Salazar. I was really looking forward to him getting that 100 today. I was cheering for him, but to be fair to him, the shot that he played, even though it was outside our half stump, it's a shot that he has been playing to make his runs all along. And the ball was there for the taking, but he just did not get his feet across enough to be able to properly punch it into the offside. So it's a shot he's been playing all day long, getting his runs, but very disappointed he did not get 100. I was cheering for him because I'm looking forward to somebody like him to be challenging Chandapal for the opening position going to England. Also, young Kimani Milius. Good innings by him again, birding the weight of captain in this team. Very impressed by him, I must say. Young team that he's leading, and this team is really, really doing well. Very impressed with him. I'm not going to give him too much hard of a time for him being bowled by Jordan. I thought it was a good delivery that got him, but good effort from him. Also, Sunil Ambrose. Good to see an experienced player going out there, attacking the bowling, putting some runs on the board, stamping his class as an international player and somebody who has played Test cricket. Again, disappointed. Again, he did not go on to get that 100. But the team, they are gelling cohesively, it appears. They look like they're playing for each other. They're playing good, aggressive cricket. And they look like they believe in their talent and they're really doing well.
Basil, is this a big concern of you that our players are getting started and are not going on to make 100? I, for one, was very, very disappointed that none of them made 100.
Yeah, I would echo what Billy is saying regarding Salazano. I thought Salazano was the way how solid he was looking, positive in his stroke play. I thought he had 100. When I went back over to the match, I saw he's out to 86. I said, "What happened here?" Right? Ambrose came out and played his he put a hammer in on one of the Barbadian bowlers in one task. He was just taking Ambrose taking him to task. But yeah, that's a concern because look, when a guy scores 80 something, in or even 50 something or so on in our first class cricket, when you extrapolate that to test cricket, that's something like a 20 something in a test match, right? So we want to see these guys scoring some good big hundreds that we could feel confident that they're going to go and battle and at least pass 50 for us in a test match, right? And
And
also, I just want to add, Mr. Hodge is the next one that came back from Australia and failed today, right?
Yes. Yes.
Another of our Australia brigade of youngsters that have none of them have come back and hit the road running. This has been very disappointing in these first two rounds with all of these guys.
I absolutely agree with you, and I'm furious over that situation. I'm coming to you, Bobby. I saw that you're there. But the question I want to ask now, can Barbados come back in this match, Billy?
It's very, very difficult based on what I'm seeing here. Very difficult. They're in a very precarious position. Currently they are trailing by 39 runs. Um, 4 batsmen down. 3 of their main batsmen are gone. It's a very, very difficult position that they find themselves in. However, though, I will take confidence from the fact that Dowich has been batting well. He's still to come. Holder, both holders can hold a straight bat. Even Premius can hold a straight bat. So I am hoping that they can put at least a 150 on board and then challenge the Volcanoes. But having said that, their bowlers have not been as penetrative as one would hope. So it looks a foregone conclusion at this stage, but it's a game of cricket. You may never know.
Yeah, Kevin Wickham is also still to come. Basil, you mentioned about Kavim Arch coming back from Australia and also not doing well. But where's Athanaze and Grief, Basil? Do you have any information on their whereabouts?
That's a question we also want to know where is Imlak, because Imlak came back just like Hodge and he hasn't played. Athanaze came back just like Hodge. He hasn't played, right? And Graves Graves also, just like all of them, because none of those guys were in the T20 team. All of them returned to the Caribbean the same time, but only Hodge is the only one I'm seeing play. So I was asking around. Nobody can't tell me, but Imlak, his club mates told me that he was supposed to be joining Guyana team. He's not playing, right? And we haven't seen Athanaze, and so on. So these are the kind of things where West Indies cricket, where they get the ire from me, because West Indies cricket should have put out some kind of memo or media release, that is press release saying, look, player XYZ, these guys will be featuring in the third round and so on. Not left to us speculating and asking around as to what's the situation. These are the basic 101s in West Indies cricket that they don't do from a media perspective, that always gets my ire up.
There's some music affecting the copyright. This I could get myself some music there. I could get myself in trouble. No, because of the music, I even forget my thought process, because the music will affect the copyright of the video, and I will.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I could tell you that. Yes. Somebody's phone was ringing.
No, it wasn't music. It wasn't music. Sorry about that.
Okay, so these guys. What I was going to say is that, aren't they aware of what is happening in India, where Jay Shah come out and told Ishan Kishan that he may not play IPL if he doesn't turn out in Ranji Trophy matches? Andre, do you think that something like that could be in store for West Indies cricketers if they refuse to play?
Anybody who knows me knows that I'm an advocate for persons participating in domestic cricket once it doesn't have an impact on their international contract. Because if you have a situation where you're supposed to play in regional cricket now and you get a contract to play in, let's say, the PSL for 200 or 300,000, obviously I would support a player in taking up that contract. However, when it is that they are not participating in international cricket, they should participate in the local domestic competition. And I said before, in my opinion, it appears these players will use this competition, play a game or two for West Indies, get the recognition, get their contracts, and then they're off to play in their T20 leagues, and it doesn't appear they care about playing in these local competition anymore. Then if you have a situation now where they do not get these contracts as per expected, they want to then come back to the competition, play for West Indies cricket, and get pay and get a contract. And if they do not benefit from this, then you find a situation where they get upset. And in my humble opinion, I think we have such a situation with Dan Brother right now. But I think we need to put something in place where these guys need to participate in these domestic competition. Everybody else is doing it to maintain the standard of their competition. What is wrong with us?
Basil, what's your view on what Jay Shard said?
I'm going to take a view
Welcome,
that
Bobby.
is, looking at this situation from a holistic perspective, and I'm going to just use the analogy of in the United States with the professional leagues, as I said in the chat earlier. All the teams, all the various international teams would be representative of a NBA franchise or NFL franchise. The administrators would be representative like the owners of the team on the two sides of the table, right? There has to be some universal practices among all cricketing nations as to this situation. We can't got India doing one thing, West Indies doing another, Pakistan doing another, because at the end of the day, all of them have to go and play on the same playing field. So you can't have somebody getting an unfair advantage over another entity because they are able to do something like what Jay Shah is doing or what Pakistan board is doing vis-a-vis Harris Ruff and other players. West Indies board tried that before, and if you remember, we got taken before the arbitrator. The board was taken for arbitrator, and what the thing about trade or stopping players from trade of services or something of that sort. But then the other side is the West Indies board has allowed centrally contracted players to go off and play in leagues when West Indies have international cricket, right? As what happened last year with Mr. Puran. You remember Mr. Puran was a centrally contracted player. West Indies playing the ODI series against India. He's in the United States, right? And then when we played against England, he's played a T10 tournament in Dubai, right? So I feel
got you, Basil. I got you. I'm just running through some comment. I think Brian H is saying restraint of trade, but
yes, that was it. Restraint of
but
trade.
if you sign a contract with me, it can't be restraint of trade, and I think that I would do, because there's a common trend now. There's a common trend running through Afghanistan, Pakistan, Australia, India. There's a common trend now, and I think that is a trend that is going to take over. Osborne is saying that skipper Brathwaite had failed for 4 innings in Australia. He already batted 4 innings. Well, he has only batted 3 innings. Brathwaite didn't bat in the second. Did he bat in the second innings against?
Yeah, man.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
he got 18.
Yeah, and also failed 4 innings. Yes, we realize that. And Tony is asking, why is the CEO of the West Indies Cricket Board is from the UK? Well, I personally do not have an issue with that, Tony. I think the only issue I have with it is that I don't think he's the best man for the job. If he was the best man for the job, it would not matter to me where he's from. My problem is that I think he's weak. Bobby, good evening and welcome to the show. Please tell us about the West Indies Academy match versus the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force.
Well, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force looking like they're going to wrap up this match because the West Indies Academy they're really under the 8 ball right here, They already, I think, 82 for 2, trailing by 82 runs.
84 for 3.
Yeah, 84 for 3. Sorry about that. So, yeah, they're really behind the 8 ball right here. I love the way Jed Gooley batted. I think he batted with a lot of maturity yesterday. Took the game away from the West Indies Academy. And Ned, I forgot his exact figures, but he got 6 for
6 for 78 from 34, 6.4 overs.
Yeah, so I think he was really good. He was really on point. I think now he's gonna be something special. It's gonna be tough for him now to get into this West Indies team at the moment, but I think that boy is a special talent.
So, who was the standout? Jail Gooley make 113. What do you think of that knock from Jail Gooley? How did he look? Is
Yeah,
he
yeah, that's
someone who you think can have the class, who can push for West Indies place? Does he show that quality?
he did show it in that match, but he's been around for some time now, so I'm only worried if he's just shown it in that match. But that match was very good, especially yesterday, because yesterday he batted very patiently. He waited. Today he started because he's normally an aggressive player, and I think yesterday he was striking around 40, 30 at some stage, and he see out the day, came back today, started to play his shot, and it was a brilliant knock from him.
Basil, what do you think that the Windward, not the Windward, the Academy have any chance at all in this match?
I don't think so. I think Trinidad got the measure of them. I must commend young Ned. I know him personally. I know his dad. His dad is my good friend. Glad to see young Ned putting up some numbers. And in terms of this guy Gooley, he is interesting with him because he was on that under 19 team that won the World Cup in 2016. A lot of people don't know about him. And but that was what, almost 8 years ago. And he's only played 8 first-class matches in that period because, unfortunate for him, he could not get into a Trinidad team because, Trinidad was full of a lot of West Indies level players and West Indies players. And now he's getting his chance. I'm glad to see the youngster make some runs. I remember him in the limited overs game against Guyana a couple years ago, making a big score against Guyana. I think it was 100, if I'm not mistaken. So it's good to see him making some runs because we need to see a lot of these young players putting up their hands, man. We want to say it like I want to see serious competition for places in the West Indies team. We have guys who have been, very lethargic, and we need to have young players start putting up their hands and dominating and to get into the West Indies team.
Andre, Billy, Basil is there saying he wants to see young players put up their hands and get into the West Indies team. But we saw where in this West Indies Academy team, Teddy Bishop, he made 65. Again, another player getting a start and not going on. It's just another disappointment, Andre, Billy.
Yes, it is. And we need to stop. Well, maybe it's a case of slim pickings, but we need to stop rewarding persons just getting a 50 or a 60 or a 70. We want to see some hundreds being put on the board. I mean, the season is long. There are quite a few matches to be played. These guys should be earmarking maybe at least 4 centuries for the season, scoring 600 to 700 runs, averaging over 50. Those are the kind of numbers that we're looking forward to persons putting on the board. So Teddy Bishop haven't got that chance and played one match, was not successful in that match, came back and made a 50-something. If this is going to be his performance throughout the season, I'll recommend that we're going to highlight him. We're not going to let him feel like that he's not being seen if we're a selector, but at the same time, we're going to let him know that those kind of performances are just not good enough. We need to see some hundreds. You need to concentrate more. You need to spend more time at wicket. It's not a one-day match that you're playing. There's very little time limit, and put some big scores on the board. We need some hundreds.
Thank you.
There's one thing with Teddy Bishop, to be fair to him. He was running out of partners. He batted pretty well until, you can say, yes, he played a loose shot, but everybody was falling. So I would cut him some slack and getting out at 65. I think he did well.
Bobby, you would have watched that match. Tell us, Jayden Seales' return in this match. Tell us, how well did he bowl? Did he look fit? Did he look like he's carrying a nigger or anything? Anderson Phillip also bowled when he got 3 wickets. But we know that Anderson Phillips will never reach the heights of a Jayden Seales. So we are more concerned about Jaden Seals, who we think can be a really good fast bowler. Tell us about Jaden Seals' performance.
No, I mean, yeah, Jaden looked fit as ever. You know, he showed his class, especially in the first match. I mean, I think everybody saw that ball that he gave Naeem Young. It was too good for Young. He looked like he's ready to return, but unfortunately for him, Shamar is there, so he's gonna have some trouble with his partner in the West Indies. But he looks ready.
Basil, competition for places is always a good thing.
Yes. I just want to add on to what Billy was saying. My from my perspective, and Roger Harper said this when he came into the position several years ago. Batters, we're looking for 55 and above average in the season. Because remember, we have to extrapolate these performances to test cricket, knowing the gap between this competition level of competition to test level. So you're looking for guys, as I agree with Billy, guys to make serious runs, 2, 3, 400s, averaging 55 and above, right? That is the standards we are looking for from these guys. And I think if guys understand and dedicate themselves to those kinds of standards, it will lift the standards of the competition in itself. Because now bowlers will have to do well, have to really bowl well to get them out, and vice versa, right? Bowlers bowl much better, means batters got to improve their batting to score runs and survive good bowling attacks. And I want to reiterate, I would like to see more Kensington-like wickets in this tournament, because if we do see that, we'll get an understanding as to really where our players are. Because, you know, some of these flat tracks, you know, guys look good, and then when you put them in the firing line on a wicket that is giving something to the bowler, we just fall like cheap tents.
Thank you very much. Now to the final match that is going on. That's the fourth match. That is the Jamaica Scorpion versus the combined colleges and campuses. Well, the combined colleges and campuses were asked to take first strike at Sabina Park yesterday morning. They made 307 all out this morning, with Jonathan Carter getting 135. Gordon Bryan took 3 for 66 for Jamaica from 26 overs, and O.J. Shields 3 for 78 from 15 overs. The Jamaican Scorpion in reply reached 259 for 6 at close. Chadwick Walton made 163 and Carlos Brown made 48, where he should have been forward to Zishan Mutara, the 17-year-old leg spinner who is bowling a really good spell. He bowled all of 22 overs and have conceded only 69 runs. I got the impression that most of the times they were just pushing forward to him and not really picked him. And he got most of his wickets because they were not picking him. Now, importantly in this match, Jermaine Blackwood, Bonner, Mackenzie, and Arbachan Singh all failed miserable. So despite over 200 runs between Walton and Brown, Jamaica 259 for 6 at the close of day's play, looking to get 307 to pass the combined colleges first innings total. They still need another 48 runs to do that. And so tomorrow, third day, will be very, very exciting and very interesting at Sabina Park. Billy, what do you think about this leg spinner, Zishan Mutara? You didn't watch him?
I haven't seen much of him, but what I'll comment on though is the performance of the Jamaica team. Again, when we were previewing the tournament, we spoke about the Jamaica team having a good-looking team on paper, and I wish to stress on paper. You have persons like Blackwood there, you have Nkrumah Bonner, you have Chadwick Walton, you have Mackenzie, who is returning from Australia, so they have some experience. However, for some reason, they have not been able to transform that performance onto the field. Here it is that we have the experienced player of Jermaine Blackwood failing again, right? Former West Indies vice captain, Mackenzie did not get anything on the board. And here it is that we have the combined colleges and campuses team that is giving what is supposed to be a professional team a hard time. I remember they were basically knocked away by Barbados the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you how poor these guys are performing. I don't know if it is a case that they're not holding themselves to a higher standard. I don't know what it is. I cannot put my hands on it, but Jamaica has been performing in this regional tournament over the last few years absolutely terrible and way below what their talent would suggest. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's a captaincy, coaching, motivation, self-belief. I don't know what it is, but it's just poor, very poor.
Basil, we look at this batting today from those experienced West Indies batsmen,
Mm-hmm.
especially Mackenzie. Probably you would say Mackenzie is an experienced West Indies batsman, but he looks worse against the regional teams than he looked in Australia. What is
Yeah.
causing that? Is this a mental issue?
Um, I am wondering if Miss Mackenzie believe he has arrived, and he doesn't know the protocol in that when you go up and you play international cricket, like Test cricket, and you come down to the first class, you are supposed to dominate and stamp your authority. There is no excuse for failures unless maybe the bowler that you're facing is a bowler who's also an international bowler, or you get a beauty, right? He has been a very big disappointment. Bonner and Blackwood, and it's a continuation of the two of them from last year, because I watched the games when they played last year, and it's a continuation with their poor form in the first class season. Again this year, I mean, I know Bonner made a 40 something in the first innings or the second innings of the last match.
Oh, Basil, I don't cut you, but 40 something can't be the
No,
standard.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. But for me, what I have been heartened by in looking at Jamaica is these two fast bowlers, Brian and Shields. I think we have some very good talent there to work with. Both of them got good pace. Shields is quicker, but both of them have all the nice raw ingredients that we need to nurture, because these two guys, I think, could be guys who could be challenging for West Indies places in the very near future.
Bobby, what do you think about the batsman Walter Knock? He made 163. Unfortunate to get out of the last delivery of the day. But what do you think about that knock? And would you be expecting more knock? This is what you really want the Melius and those guys to be doing.
Yeah, it was a superb knock from an experienced player. He said this is his last campaign, so I guess he want to go out with a bang. It was unlucky for him to get out. I think he probably just a bit of loss of concentration, just because it was like the last ball, the last over. He was unlucky to get out. I think he was aiming for 200, but it was a superb knock from him.
Yes, thank you.
And
It was a great, Bobby. It was a unbelievable catch.
yeah, it was a great catch.
Yes,
It was a great catch by who took that catch?
Well, however, he played well, 16 fours and 5 sixes, and we need to see more innings like this in the tournament. Billy, starting with you, the first. Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to say something about Mackenzie. I'm wondering if it's complacency or overconfidence, because not just in this tournament. Because I remember when Mackenzie was in South Africa, he didn't really get any good scores. The practice match against Australia, he didn't get any good scores. But then when Australia came, he played good. So it's a wild one with Mackenzie. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's more turned on when he's playing international games, but it's just the funniest thing.
You know, I want to say something quickly on that, on Sir Carlton. And maybe you're hitting on something there, Bobby. Players got to realize their preparation, regardless of whatever game they play, even if they're going to play a club game, their preparation must be consistent. Because if you don't have that consistent preparation, your performance will not be. So in part of that preparation is also that mental intensity that you have to turn on. That much.
We lost Basil there. Go ahead, Basil.
Yeah, that mental preparation that preparation has to be consistent with whether you're playing a club match, you're playing a first class match, international match. And maybe that is not, maybe that could be the issue with Mackenzie, that his preparation, that intensity, that focus that you always have to have consistently, after a while it becomes second nature, right? So the way he looked against Australia, he hasn't looked anywhere close to that. So I think you're hitting on something there, Bobby, that maybe he is not preparing in the same manner mentally, both mentally and physically, for this tournament.
Basil, quickly, 6 days gone out of the tournament so far, 1.5 round. What's your impression of the tournament thus far?
Well, the tournament, I am not surprised. The standard is what I expected. I didn't expect a high standard of cricket. I was pleasantly surprised, and I keep repeating this, by the Kensington pitch, because, you know, those of us older West Indian fans who remember the days of when you came to Jamaica, you know you're going to face a bouncy, fast pitch at Sabina Park. When you went to Barbados, you swung a similar pitch. In the so-called small islands, you may see those kind of pitches, and then Trinidad, you get a wickets that could help the spinning, and Guyana was a nice batting track. So as a player, as you traversed around the region, you had to make those subtle adjustments based on the varying conditions. But in the last 20 plus years, most of the pitches have been same. And then to see this Kensington pitch in the way it is, it was very hard to see. Despite I hear some complaints about the ground this and the ground that, I like, guys, that outfield is good enough. It ain't got no bumps and no hole that a man will run and torn the ankle or anything of the sort, right? It's a more than adequate ground to play on, and I hope we can see more pitches like this. And again, we have seen some performances by some people that we may not have expected, like the Waltons who going out. This Gooley guy who is now really finding his way in first class cricket. We got some 5-wicket hauls from a guy who just played his first game in Ali Mohammed. 5-wicket haul by young Ned, who is a talented left arm spinner. And so we have seen some performances. The youngster from Barbados, Wickham, has lived up to billing in the first game, albeit it's against a very ordinary bowling attack. But still, you still got to make the runs. He made a 70 and 100. So we have seen some performances, but I still want to see much more. And as I told you, Sir Carlton, the Australia Brigade is the ones I am looking for, because I would be very, very disappointed in all of them if they don't come and dominate in the remaining 5 matches.
Billy, 5 centuries so far in the tournament. Is that more than what you expected, or it should have been more? There have been almost 200 innings in the tournament and only 5 centuries.
I would have expected more. And if you look at the number of guys who have gotten starts or gotten near centuries, that probably that number could have jumped up to about, I would say, 10. And after almost 2 rounds of competition, I think 10 centuries would be a fair mark as to batsmen performing well within the competition. So I'm a little bit disappointed with the number of centuries that I'm seeing so far. But the flip side of that is that we are seeing a couple 5-wicket hauls, and we see a couple new bowlers who are making some marks within the competition. But 10 centuries at this stage would have been a good marker.
Thank you very much, Billy. Bobby, what about the bowling? Who are the bowlers that impressed you the most in this tournament so far? Who would you say are the top 3 bowlers in the tournament thus far?
The top 3 bowlers: Ryan John has impressed. Ashmead Ned, like I said before, he's really impressed me. He has been impressing me since CPL. And Gordon Bryan. Because when I think when the Jamaica team came out and we didn't saw Nicholas Garden, everybody was wondering. But Gordon Bryan, I think, have lived up to his selection.
Yeah,
not really his expectation, because I don't really know him, but to his selection and the omission of Nicholas Garden. But to go on and so far with the batting, to me, I think it's decent. You know, it's a gradual process. I would like to know the amount of runs or centuries we scored the same time last year. I think the batsmen are really trying to get into the West Indies team. Some of them probably should have made centuries, but I think it's a pretty decent tournament so far.
Okay, thank you very much, Bobby. Judging now, we are in round one. Who do you see now as someone who you think could probably go on and really get themselves into the West Indies team at this time? As we come to the chats, that's something I want you to think about. So let's just hear what Brian had said. He's saying that we want to see 100, yes, but the guys who are actually in the West Indies team are also in this competition and can barely score double digits. And the panel is in consensus with you on that, Brian H. Kirk Amute is saying, the cricket forum, it looks like the cricket world has worked over the batting techniques and Zachary Joseph bowling. It's time two players evolve their game to improve their game, Mr. Cricket Forum. But Basil, that is an ongoing thing with West Indies cricketers. We are not involved in our game.
Yeah, I have said this. When we see players from around the world, we see them this year because obviously they're not West Indians, so we don't see them with the same frequency. And then we see them maybe 6 months later or a year later or something, and they all improved and immeasurably improved. Why is it their counterparts in the West Indies? We don't see that. You know, a guy comes back from a series and then he goes back home and works on his game and so on. And then when we see him again, we go like, look, boy, this guy is a series really looking better than when I last saw him. And again, that's a reflection of our cricket structure. Also maybe something with the work ethic of our guys. Maybe are they working smart or what are they doing?
What I have seen in our game is that it is not evolved. We have a player. Look, I'm always impressed with and you said it, the Australians, the English, and so on. Even 35, 36, you see their game evolving. They're adding strokes, different strokes to their game. When the Dilshan scoop came out, Dilshan was almost on the verge of retiring, and he had that strokes to his game. So our players, their game is not evolving. Bobby, Kirk Amute is asking about Roach. Do you think, Bobby, it's time for Roach to probably go and you have someone like Seals in the game?
I think Roach still has a bit more time to play, maybe 1 year, maybe like 2 years, 1 to 2 years. I think in the West Indies, you know, Roach is still pretty good. So Seals would have to just step up and take his game.
Thank you very much. Billy, this is from Winston King here, Billy. I don't know what happened to you, Billy, but you're
You're upside down, Billy.
All right.
I'm okay. Sorry about that.
Yes.
The landscape. I was on landscape. Sorry about. Okay. Let's get this right.
Yes.
My landscape is on. Sorry about that. My landscape. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, man. A lot of times we are here.
Echoing, Billy.
I'm hearing an echo, Billy.
An echo?
Yeah, Basil, a number of times we heard Percy talking about give the youngsters a chance, Basil. But here is it now that the youngsters have an opportunity to shine. They now should shine. Do you agree?
I do not agree with this notion of giving a youngster a chance. You gotta earn your chance. This is not about because you're young, we're giving you a chance. If you have performed, right? Yes, you deserve a shot, but not because you're young and you show some ability. And that's something we got to stop this notion. People are, we got to get a youngsters chance. And one of the reasons reasons I think this comes about is because we have been so ordinary as a team, and the guys playing on the team, they're averaging 20-something, 30, and so on. And some people say, well, a youngster can't do any worse, so let him play. right? But when you put the youngster in the same tournament with that guy, the guy outplaying him. So how you gonna replace a guy and you can't outplay the guy you're playing in the same competition?
Yes, I'd never agree with that. You don't earn your place in the West Indies team by your age. You earn it by your performance. Bobby, what are your thoughts on Brian John Sherwin is saying that John should be in the team ahead of Roach, Jordan, and Older? Your thoughts?
Don't know about that yet. But as he said, I've been hearing Sherwin talking about Ryan John for a long time for real, you know, but I don't think he's there yet. He has to prove himself for the rest of the games, and maybe if we get some best of the best games and see if he can keep up his performance. I don't think he's right there yet to take maybe because Jordan doesn't have a spot yet, but definitely not Roach.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Bobby. Then let's see the comment. It might be it might change in type of pitches that might be affecting the batters who tour Australia. All of them have failed in this round.
Nah,
That
nah,
comment
nah,
cannot
nah,
be justified.
nah,
No
nah,
way,
nah.
but if
No,
no,
no, no, no, no,
Billy,
no.
But
that cannot.
what
They must come back and play cricket, Billy.
Yes, they must, because listen, you're coming from Australia, you're in the Lions Den. And coming from the Lions, then you would have learned a lot. And somebody like a Mackenzie who did fairly well, he really attacked those guys, put them on the back foot, and he was stamping his class. And we're looking forward to him coming back to the Caribbean now and build on what he has learned in Australia and showed us that he has learned something and is now ready to take it to the next level. That is why all of us is just finding his experience so far in this tournament to be so disappointing.
Yes. Basil, what do you think about this by Vern Jacobs, who think that you should pay the players who work hardest the most money?
Well, here you gotta define what you mean by work hardest. You get paid based on your performance. If you want to put it like that, you gotta get your performance will determine how well you get paid. That's how it always works, right?
Yeah,
Now, who sweat the most?
I am not for individual performances, though, because I think it can bring in some selfishness. For example, if you're going to pay a man just for argument's sake $100 for getting 5 wickets, that's just for argument's sake, and he gone 4 wickets, he might not want to come off. I am not one who pay players for performance. I prefer to pay the team for. I prefer to pay the team for win.
Yes.
I will pay the team for competing the 90 overs in the 6 hours they play. Those are the things that tick box for me. I am not one who really care about paying persons for individual performances. I will reward individual performances at the end of the season, but on a match by match basis, I am always for a team performance. Go ahead, Basil. You're about to say something.
Those are fair points. I've seen that happen here in the United States because they got these clubs. If a guy make 100, you make a 50, you get a 50 US or $100, or you get 5 wickets. The man with the team give you 100 or something of the sort. And I have seen where guys are and they're in the
Go ahead.
Yeah. I have seen where guys just focus on batting for themselves and not the team, to the detriment of the team. So your points are fair.
Thank you very much. Bobby Mikel is here saying that the problem is, I think we all agree with this point. The problem is most of the fans see a young guy put up one good performance and want to put him in the team immediately. In other countries, young staff to put up good numbers consistently. We agree with that. I think all of us agree with that.
Sometimes they don't even put up one good numbers. They just look good. Sometimes they just look good.
Yes.
And a guy saying, take out this guy and put in this guy, and he just look good. You don't even put up one good performance yet.
And you asked Bobby about the guy Ryan John. I went and looked at his stats: 12 first-class matches, 36 wickets. That's nothing to shout home about. But somebody want to put him in the West Indies team.
Yes. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts there on that, Billy?
Billy, mute.
Yes, we need to see consistent performances season after season. That's why you look at somebody from Australia, we look at their first class record, you'll find that they play what 50, 60 first class matches, take over 200 wickets, score 15, 20 first class centuries, averaging in the 40s, playing first class cricket for 5 years. I'll give it that they have a more proper structure than what we do, but you cannot have a guy who comes and take 5 wickets in the season, or 3, 4, 5 wicket hauls and want to put him in the West Indies team right away. That tells that the standard is too low. And that's a comment on the Rhodes situation a little bit. Rhodes should not go anywhere, in my opinion, for the next 24 months. I think he should be allowed to play at least 100 test matches and go forth and take that 100 wickets. And the reason why I'm saying that is that he has shown a commitment to West Indies cricket over a number of years. His performances has been quite reasonable. He's the highest wicket taker we have produced since Credit Ambrose. I think Ambrose made his debut back in '88, if I'm not mistaken. So these guys who want to come in the team, the other day I hear persons are talking about Akeem Jordan should get his place. Look at Akeem Jordan's performance thus far. Nothing to write home about. So you guys have to kick the doors down. You guys remember some years ago when Carl Hooper wanted to get back into this team, what he had to do? I think he scored something like 7 centuries in the season. Guys must kick the doors down in order to get in.
Okay. Thank you very much, dear Billy. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening, and thank you, Basil. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Bobby, for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow evening to round up the Thursday's play. Probably by that time, 3 of the matches may well be over by tomorrow this time. So we look forward to seeing you then. Please continue to watch the matches and come with your reports as we look forward to do this again tomorrow evening. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank all of you for in the chat. Have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Good evening.